All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Bring the Spirits to Launch. We're happy you're joining us. My name is Manilyn Gumapas, and I serve as Communications Director for Revolutionaries. Revolutionaries is an independent book publishing company. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Revolutionaries Press and Twitter at revolt_twit, TWT. Revolutionaries publishes cross-genre works which don't necessarily fit within the current commercial publishing landscape. We define our name and the very term revolutionary to stand for love, nonviolence, and justice for all. And this is reflected in all that we publish, from our editorial content to our published books. And speaking of our published books, we are all here tonight to celebrate the launch of our most recent title, Bring the Spirits, an Army-Made Drinks Manual, written by Lynn Bartsch and Jen Little. We would like to extend a special thank you to everyone who has purchased the book so far. You can find Bring the Spirits on our Revolutionaries website or Amazon if you haven't gotten your copy yet. And just so you all know, 85% of all of our profits from Bring the Spirits is donated to Black-centered racial justice organizations and funds. The first network that we are donating to is Law for Black Lives, and you can check them out at law4 with a number, blacklives.org. And now, finally, I will turn it over to our star of the evening. Joining us from a great good place for books in Oakland, California, I am delighted to introduce Lynn, author of Bring the Spirits, along with Jen Little. So Lynn, please tell us more about yourself and where you're joining us from.
Hi, everybody. I'm really glad to be here. I want to say first, though, that I'm super sad that Jen Little can't be here tonight. It's actually a big hole in my heart that she's not here tonight. But we're going to bring her here in spirit and have fun with her. We're at Great Good Place for Books in Oakland, California, which is an independent bookstore owned by my friend Kathleen Caldwell. And she's been a big part of my journey as a writer and as a reader. And she's amazing. So if you happen to be in Oakland, California, please come by.
Awesome. So just to let you all know, all of our viewers, that you can drop questions on any platform that you're joining us from. I know we have viewers joining us from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and here on StreamYard. So anywhere that you post a comment, we will actually be able to see, and we'll slide it on over to my end, and I'll try and bring it into the conversation with Lynn, which should be happening as Lynn makes us our 3 drinks of the evening, which is Suga Daddy, Lachimolala, and I promised that I was going to have it all memorized to say without looking, but I didn't get a chance to do it. I know, international pop K worldwide sensation, Shrimp Hub, BTS. There's so much more to it, but that one was the one that won by a landslide when our RSVPs voted. So those are the 3 drinks, and we've got some prepared questions, and I guess we can just start the conversation now, or if you want to start getting drinks ready, what would you like to do?
I need a drink. Let's do that.
All right. Okay.
Start talking to both.
Sure. Maybe as you are getting things ready, would you like to tell us how the idea for this book came about?
Yeah, it was during lockdown. Things were really tense. We had been locked inside for probably 3 or 4 months already. And one of the ways that I would cope is on Friday night or Saturday night, I would sit down and I would watch Fifth Muster or Run BTS or Bon Voyage or something, and I would make myself a drink. And I started putting some really cute, fun, BTS related names on the drinks and posting them on Twitter. And Army started to really enjoy those posts. And Jen, who can't be with us tonight, kind of shouted at me across Twitter and said, "Stop telling everybody what you're making and put it in a book." So that's what we did. And, I brought it to Walia, and who I was talking to about another project. And she was all for it. And at the same time, and I know I'm not making a drink right now, at the same time was when the Black Lives Matter movement sort of exploded in America. And things were already tense and they became much more tense. And when I brought it to Aaliyah, kind of as a joke, like, hey, we should make a cocktail book, it was her idea to make this a fundraiser for Black-centered racial justice causes. And that really made it a mission more than, took it from being like kind of a gag to being a mission. And we thought we could make Army smile and raise some money for something that was really, really important. And actually, Suga Daddy, to segue, Suga Daddy was the drink that started it all. It was the very first drink that I ever posted. For anybody who follows me on Twitter, I'm a Ungi bias. And so I also happen to then be like a whiskey Scotch bourbon bias. And so this is a whiskey-based drink usually. I'm going to use a single malt Scotch tonight. And the reason I'm doing that is actually because single malt Scotch is Yungi's favorite. And because he's recovering from shoulder surgery, we're going to use his favorite. So if you want to keep talking, I can walk you through the steps, which if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that you shared so far, really grateful for, and especially the part about this being a fundraiser, especially given BTS's own philanthropy work, it just makes sense, that Army creates a book that is dedicated also to a cause, just as BTS does with their work. So yeah, walk us through what you're doing.
Okay, first of all, this drink is served in a rocks glass, which looks like this, short, squat, not always round. If you are confused about what glasses are what, there is a glossary of glasses in the back of the book where you can look them up and it will describe to you all the different types of glasses. There's a reason why this is served in a rocks glass, and that's because it's a pretty short drink. If you serve it in a very tall glass, you're going to be like tipping right back all the time. So that's why it's in a rocks glass. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to crust the rim of the glass with lemon powder. If you don't have lemona, you can just use sugar and it will be fine. But of course, and today's lemona star is Cantaeum. I think they're both Cantaeum. So the way you crust the rim is you put the powder on like a plate or a napkin or something like that. You want something bendable so that after you're done rimming the glass, you can pour it into the drink. I'm going to use 2. I know the instructions only say 1, but I'm just using 2 because I'm in sort of an extra tart mood today. So I don't want it extra tart. So then what you're going to do after you pour the lemon powder onto a paper plate or a napkin, something like that, you're going to take your glass, I saw that comment, and a lemon slice, and you're going to rub the lemon slice, fold it in half, and rub it around the edge of the glass, like that. Okay, then you're going to take the lemon slice and just set it aside. You're going to use it in a minute. And then you're going to roll the rim of the glass around in the lemon powder. Until you have it all the way around. The spot's not sticking. Okay, like that. And see you have it crust all the way around. Then you'll set the glass aside, put some ice in it. I wish I had tongs. My hands are going to be cold. Okay. Then you can put the rest of the powder into the glass. There you go. All right. Then I don't know if any of you know what this is. This is a measure for mixing cocktails. The big side is 1.5 ounces. The small size is 1 ounce. So we're going to measure 2 ounces. The book says whiskey. I told you I'm using Scotch as like a little homage. So I'm going to do 2 ounces. Scotch over the lemona, and the Scotch or whiskey will actually dissolve the lemona powder. And if anybody wants to know the difference between Scotch, whiskey, and bourbon, let me know. And then we're just going to pour chill slung over. And if you don't have chill slung, you can use any lemon lime soda that you like. And you just kind of pour enough on until it's how strong you like it. I actually like it pretty strong, but and then give it a little gentle stir. Float the lemon slice on top. And you're done. Cheers. Okay. I'm actually not going to drink alcohol.
I know, I'm the same way. I was like, I wish I could mix up a drink from the book tonight, but I gotta moderate this discussion.
So I can't really drink it.
Yes. Please enjoy this book responsibly, everyone. We actually did get a question in terms of the difference between Scotch, whiskey, and bourbon. And truthfully, if you could quickly explain, I was personally curious myself.
Absolutely, I will tell you. Okay, so for all you logic and math nerds, Scotch and bourbon are both whiskeys, but not every whiskey is a Scotch or a bourbon. So like Venn diagram it. Scotch is made from malted grain. Bourbon is made from corn. And whiskey is made from unmalted grain. Traditionally, Scotch is made in Scotland. Bourbon is made in America. And whiskey is made in Ireland or Canada. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
They're all grain liquors, which is why they're all sort of in one category.
So before you get on to your next drink, why don't we go through a few other questions?
Sure, happy to.
Yeah. How did you discover your talent and this passion for mixology? Was it during the pandemic or was it long before?
Yeah, no, it's long before. For me, I have always loved cooking of any kind. And this to me is just another form of cooking. It's taking ingredients, making something delicious out of them and something that other people can enjoy. For me, it's a lot about making them for other people and having them, get some happiness from it. When the pandemic happened, we were stuck by ourselves. And so it became about making me happy until I started posting them and seeing that it made other people happy too. But that's about it. And then I grow a lot of my own fruit and vegetables in the garden. And so another way that it came about actually was, how do I use all these things? So, I have 8,000 lemons. What do I do with them? So it became a way to use those too.
Awesome. We also have another question from a viewer. Kenzie Kim said, I love the outfit too. Lynn, please tell us about your outfit.
Okay, I will do so. Okay, this shirt is from the BTS pop-up store that was around Citi Field in October. I was fortunate enough to go to that show. And I actually didn't go to the pop-up store. A friend went to the pop-up store and waited in line for, 6 hours or whatever. It got me the shirt, but I love it. And Citi Field was probably the most, I think, magical concert I've ever been to in my whole life. I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, 50,000 people cried all at one time. Like, that's what it was. It was a really great experience. And the jacket is a jacket, don't tell anybody, but it's like a $10 leather jacket that I got that is reminiscent of mint Yoongi era, run era jacket. That's the outfit.
All right, and we have some other questions from viewers. One is that, do you have any non-alcoholic variants?
Yes. There are some actual virgin cocktails in the book already that don't need a modification. I can tell you quickly what a couple of them are. You Nice Keep Going is non-alcoholic. Banana Milk and Cookie, oh no, that one's Too Cool for Soul. Soul, for anybody who doesn't know, is the Korean word for alcohol. Is also non-alcoholic. there are a lot of the drinks in the book that you could make virgin, and then there's some that you really can't because alcohol is the only ingredient in them, pretty much. But anything that has a fruit juice, a lemonade, a soda, and some combination of these things, you can just leave the alcohol out and it will still be delicious. And if anybody wants to know like a specific cocktail and how to make a non-alcoholic variant of it, I'm happy to answer that question now, or they can reach out to me on Twitter and I'll do it then.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm available for consultations on that.
We'll have maybe about 2 or 3 more questions, and then maybe move on to the next drink.
Yeah.
Awesome. This next question is another one from a viewer. Rachel S. wants to know, Lynn, how long have you been in Army?
I've been in Army since 2016. My daughter introduced me to BTS, and I was kind of like just, keeping an eye on what she was listening to, because I have some strong opinions about, what my young girls should be listening to. And I just wanted to sort of check it out and see. And then she begged me to take her to the Wings tour in April of 2017 in Anaheim. We were going to be in Anaheim anyway, as it turned out. And I was like, oh, I don't know, okay. And so I took her. And it was their live performance. That was it. I was done. I was down the rabbit hole the minute we got back from that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what was your process like in developing these drinks? Would you start with a recipe first and then find a moment from BTS that it seemed to fit well with, or was it the other way around where you saw a BTS moment or song and then you developed the recipe based on that?
Yeah, I mean, Jen and I did a lot of sort of just, frankly, kind of chaotic, like throwing out of names, and we did that with our group chat. We have some sisters in a group chat that we hang out with, and we were kind of all just throwing out names, and then if the name suggests, and from all the memes and all the jokes and all the songs, there's so much. Like we could literally do 100 of these books, and we would not run out of material. And then if the name suggested something, I would, start there. So eat gin is a good example. Eat gin had to be something you could eat. So I would say, oh, how could we, infuse something into food? And actually, I started out looking for a vegan Jello to make vegan Jello shots for each gin, and that really didn't work at all. It was really disgusting. It was really not okay, and it wasn't so much the vegan Jello itself, which is fine and good and delicious and people can enjoy it. It was when you infused it with alcohol, the texture became like not appetizing at all. So then, moved on to finding another way to infuse alcohol with food. And sometimes some things just evoke something. Like I like puppy, there are lots of cocktails, traditional cocktails that are named after dogs. So, I went and looked at the bulldog recipe and then said, how do we make this more BTS? How do we make this more Army? How do we make this more fun? How do we tie it in to what I Like Puppy is about? Which is cute, fun, chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, it seems every recipe seems so great and so on point to every moment that you chose. So, yeah.
And it's funny. It just sort of all happened really fast and seemed very natural and organic, and they kind of just lend themselves to it. Like all these jokes just sort of lend themselves to this, and the songs. I think a good example of that is We Are Bulletproof, the very last, drink. I mean, that just had to be pretty much straight up bourbon. That's because I think, that's the kind of drink that you drink when you're like drowning your sorrows. I hate to say that because I don't want anybody to go out and pound, bourbons to drown their sorrows. But you know what I mean? Like when you're hit with that level of just emotion, it had to be something pure like that.
Absolutely. And the tissue box in the background of the photo in the book was a very, very nice touch.
Actually, it's a really good story, if you don't mind me telling that really quick. So we did all of this during the pandemic and during lockdown, the whole thing start to finish. And so the photos had to be done in my garage with the garage door open. And we had to make all the things ourselves. And so that's like a Kleenex box that I covered with purple tissue paper in like 8 different layers because I kept ripping the tissue paper like in different places, and to cover the logos because I didn't want the logos to show. But all of the pictures that you see were taken by a friend of ours named Francisco, and with assistance from my husband in our garage over like 3 days with like spray painting props and just putting things together with like Band-Aids and but it was fun.
Sounds like it. I mean, if anything, it sounds reminiscent of BTS's own beginnings of, recording in garages. So
yeah, and it's interesting because at the beginning we were just taking sort of standard pretty pictures, and then when we got to the God of Destruction drink, I said to Francisco, we need to put a broken pair of sunglasses in the frame, and he said, why? And then I showed him the video of Namjoon breaking the phone booth and then breaking, like it was some YouTube compilation of like Namjoon breaking things moments. And he was laughing so hard. He's like, are they all like this? And I said, yes. And he's like, we have to do every picture like that then. We have to like have the picture somehow relate to, what the meme, the joke, the song is. So that's how that started. The first few pictures were just like a pretty picture of a glass on a table.
Yeah, we were getting a couple of comments saying that the photos are beautiful, so you all did a great job. Are you ready to go on to another drink?
Sure, I am.
Awesome.
All right, let me get set up here. Okay, this is going to be Lachimolala. This one is served in a Collins glass, like this. A Collins glass is skinny and tall. It looks a lot like a highball glass. They're almost exactly the same. And the truth is, if you don't have a Collins glass, a highball glass will do just fine. Actually, a water glass will do just fine. It doesn't really matter. But you can tell the difference because a highball glass would be like shorter and a little squatter. Anyway, here we go. Okay, this one uses watermelon juice and soju. And I'm using General 24, which is very strong soju. You don't have to. You can use any soju. And you could even use a flavored soju if you wanted to. It would just change the flavor profile a little bit, but that's okay. And also lime juice. Okay, I have to read the directions too because I don't have all 52 memorized. So the first thing we're going to do is fill the glass with ice. Again, note to self, next time we do virtual cocktail party, bring tongs. Make a note. Okay. All right, fill the glass with ice. You're gonna have 3 ounces of lemon juice. So remember I said the bigger side is 1.5 ounces of watermelon juice. So we're gonna do 2 of those. Oh, I should have opened this before. Go. I wish I had a sidekick like Jimmy Fallon or something to bounce jokes off of. 1, 2. This is a really simple drink. Actually, a lot of them, all of them are super simple drinks. That was on purpose. Even the layered one is super simple. we're going to do 2 ounces of soju. And the reason is, like, during the pandemic, we didn't want to, like, wait 4 hours for drinks. Like, I wanted to drink right now. And I didn't want to have to do anything like, home make gin and let it sit for 6 months or something. I just wanted to, like, sit down and get the DVD started. Soju, half an ounce of lime juice. Now, I just eyeball this and do, like, half the 1 ounce shaker. So, if you want to be super precise, you can, but, I mean, honestly, it's going to taste good no matter what you do. Give it a stir. Take a lime wedge. This one looks pretty. You can stick it on. There you go. Cheers. Cheers. I really wish I could drink that whole thing right now. I'm going to take it though.
Oh, that looks delicious.
You know what? It is. So that's Lachimolala.
Wonderful. So, yeah, you've mentioned that a lot of these drinks are pretty simple to make. Which would you say is the most challenging out of all of them?
I think it's a tie between 2 of them, to be honest with you. It's the one we're going to make last. And it's not really challenging. It's just, I'll talk you through it when we make it, but if you pour it too fast, it gets messed up. I think probably the harder one is the blood, sweat, and tears. That one is the only one that takes a bunch of time because if you need to chill the tomato juice kimchi brine mixture for like 2 hours before you mix it into the drink. And then if you want to serve it with all the garnishes like we showed in the book, you have to cut carrots and cut celery and stick cocktail onions on a stick or something. I mean, it's not hard. Anyone can do it. But that's what I mean by saying they're all really simple, because that's the hardest one. Is chopping a few veg and putting some things in the fridge before you start.
Yeah. We'll, I think, take some more questions from the audience now, so go for it and just post any questions you might have right now. We do have a question about the props that you used. Lulu would like to know, are the photos featured in this, the photos featured in the stream behind Manilyn featured in the books, which is yes. I think I see Yoongi's silver rose ring that he wore during the fake love era in the far left pic. So, and are you wearing it yourself?
I'm wearing it myself.
Look at that.
Jen and I and another friend, another Army sister, went to Korea in July of 2019, and we went to Fricka Jewelry, who makes this ring and a lot of the other jewelry that they all wear. And they only had one of a pair. I'll come bring it close. They only had one left, and it exactly fit me, so I knew it was destiny, and I had to buy it.
Serendipity, if you will.
If you will.
Wonderful.
So,
all right. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so another question. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this username. What process did you go through for choosing which drinks made the cut for the book?
Well, we decided that we wanted 52 drinks in the book because 5 plus 2 equals 7, and 7 is our number. And so really it was an issue of getting to 52, not of cutting so much. We did have a few extra at the end of the day, and the way we decided kind of what to include and what to cut is this book isn't just a drinks recipe book, and it isn't just to raise money for Black-centered racial justice causes. It also was meant to be kind of a chronicle of BTS's journey with Army. And so what we tried to do was make sure that we tell that story. So if you read the book, if you haven't read the foreword, this will make more sense to you if you read the foreword. But if you start at the beginning, which is Dynamite, which wasn't out when we put this book together. And then go through each book. You're going backwards through BTS time, more or less. It's not perfect, but we did the best we could. And the other thing we tried to do was make sure that each member had roughly the same amount of drinks that were theirs, and then the vast majority were OT7. So that was, if we had a few left over, that was how we decided what to cut. Like, oh, does one member have 4 more than all the other ones? Well, then we can cut 1 or 2 of those. And that was really good.
That's great. Very thoughtful. And I love that the book is exactly that chronicle. Like, I was going through it myself and thinking I could just give this to a non-fan as a kind of a BTS 101. Like, even if you don't make the drinks, if you just go through all of the citations of the videos, it's a really great journey.
Jen did every one of those citations. I mean, it was a sheer Herculean effort to find all of those things. And it was very important to us to make sure that we brought people back to the original material, and make sure that they were understanding not just where it came from. We didn't know, Army, non-Army, but new Army, old Army. We didn't know who was going to be reading these pages. And so it was important to us that they got some context. I was thinking about it from a non-Army point of view and looking at this and going, what the heck is going on? Kind of like I was at the AMAs in 2017, and I was sitting in the industry section because I work in television, and it was broadcast on my network on ABC. So I was sitting in the pro section right up front, and so needless to say, the reason I'm saying that is because there was no Army around me. Army was there in force, but they were in the back, and they were in the tools. And when the ad would come on saying, coming up soon, BTS or whatever, the place would erupt, and then start doing fan chants. And the pros around me, like the industry people around me, were like, what is happening? Like, what is this, some sort of cult, or what is this? And I spent a lot of that night actually explaining to people what was going on. And so that's what I thought about when we were looking at the material. Like, we need to tell people we need to contextualize this for people and let them know where it is. And then we also need, for Army, who knows it really well, it will be a fun way for them to go back there, and remind themselves and live that moment again when they first saw that video clip or first heard that song. So it was an important thing to do.
Yeah, I think you did a great job at it. So I think maybe 2 more questions and then we'll move on to the next drink. Awesome. So this was a question from me because I'm from Chicago, where we have some bitterly cold winters. We are on the verge of one, I'm sure, right now. So I was really excited to see the winter beer recipe, and am definitely waiting for the first snow to whip that one up. So are there any other drinks that you think would be enjoyed seasonally?
Absolutely. Let's start with the obvious. What is summer known for? Peaches.
Sun.
Peaches.
Summer.
Peaches.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Fruit in season kind of thing. Yeah. So peaches. So I would think that the summer drink would be Jai Booty, our favorite peach-related drink. And that's actually also probably the simplest drink to make in the book. It's literally peach soju and good tonic water, and you're done. But it has a super summery flavor. That sweet flavor of peach just really always reminds me of summer, because they're here for such a short time, and they're so perfectly ripe for such a short time, and so that would be summer. Spring, I think, I would pick Euphoria, probably because it's so berry colored, and I think when I think of spring, the first thing that blooms in my garden in the spring are strawberries, and then the blueberries and raspberries. So that would be Euphoria to me. And then Winter Bear for winter, as you said, which I really like. And then autumn, I have to say I think it might be God of Destruction, which sounds weird, right? But hear me out. Two things. One is the color is very much the color that maple leaves can turn in the fall. It's got this kind of burgundy, berry red color. But the other thing is, because I know God of Destruction refers to Namjoon and his habit of breaking anything um, that comes by, but I also think of fall as like the season of destruction in a way. The leaves fall from the trees, everything dies back, and then so that it can be renewed in the spring. So I don't know. That's my crazy thought about it, but
I followed that. I really like that. All right, so next question before we move on to our third and final drink of the night. What's your personal favorite or top three, if that's too hard, drink from Bring the Spirits, and why?
Oh, and I just realized, by the way, sorry, I'm going to answer that question, but I
Yes.
actually forgot an ingredient in Lachimolala.
Oh no.
Yeah, ginger ale.
Ah,
This is an easy fix because it's just literally pour it on top.
easy fix indeed.
Yeah, it was tasting a little too. I realized something was missing. Sorry about that. It's hard to read and talk and stand.
You're doing a phenomenal job of multitasking.
Thank you.
So kudos to you.
So, thank you. Okay, so favorites. Wow, that is hard. That's like trying to pick your favorite BTS song, which I always punt that question. I can't ever answer that question. But if I had to pick, I will say I love Dynamite. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it tastes. I love how it resembles a stick of dynamite. A little pro tip for anybody who wants to make it look really cool. The way that I got the cherry to look so cool here is actually froze them. And then frozen. I don't know, it changed the color of them, and I don't know, it just made them look shiny and interesting. So I guess Dynamite, I mean, taste-wise, I have to say my favorite is I like puppy, I think. And it's very park jimin. It's like a little sweet, but then really strong and will actually knock you out. So I think it suits him well. And then my other one that I really like, actually taste-wise, is the International Playboy. The key to that one, I'll just show you really quick. The key to that one is the rosemary. Because you stir it with the rosemary spray, and it doesn't infuse too much rosemary flavor, but you leave the sprig in the glass, and then when you bring the glass to your face, you smell it, and you can taste it just through smelling it. You know what I mean? And that actually was a really enjoyable drink to have. It's like you have this refreshing smell on top of a delicious drink, and I just really liked it. It was like it was a complex experience, I guess I'll say.
I will. That one just shot to the top of my to make list, so I'll have to try that very soon because I do love rosemary myself.
Okay, let me give you one little tip about that though, because there's an ingredient, and the first ingredient in that is peach prosecco. If you can't find that, I mean, I get mine at Trader Joe's, to be honest with you. They have it, just bottles of peach prosecco. But if you can't find that, you can just get regular prosecco and add some peach juice to it, and so there you go.
Awesome. Thank you for the life hack.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so are we ready to move on to International Pop Cake Sensation Sunshine Rainbow Traditional Transfer USB Hub Shrimp BTS?
Yes, although now we have to add Mountain Laptop. Is it Laptop Mountain? Mountain Laptop. They added 2 more in the soup. Was it in the soup?
Oh, did they? Oh my, okay.
It got longer. But it was after press, so it didn't make it in.
I'm so behind on In the Soup, but yeah.
I think it was soup. I couldn't remember. Anyway.
Second edition, maybe.
We're just going to call it IPKSSRTTUHSBTS. This one's done in a pint glass, a pint glass is called pint glass because it holds a pint. It's pretty simple. Okay, this looks really hard. It's not really hard, but I may not talk as much while I make it because I have to pay attention. Okay, so the first thing you need is grenadine syrup. And you need 1 ounce of that. Remember, small side is 1 ounce. Now you're going to pour this in kind of carefully so that you don't get it along the sides of the glass, which is actually not easy all the time. So just pour that in the bottom. And that's your red layer. Then you're going to fill the glass with ice, and you're going to do it really kind of carefully. So again, so you don't splash red up the glass and disturb the colors. Again, if you don't have a pint glass, you can do this in any glass. You might just have leftover liquid of the other layers. Wow, that ice is cold. Okay. Then we're going to take a glass cup and another glass cup. And we're going to mix coconut rum. I'm using this one. It's actually rum with coconut water in it, which I really like, but you can use any coconut rum. And if you don't like coconut, you don't have to use coconut rum. You can use any light white rum. We're going to mix 2 ounces of that rum, and there's red in here, so rinse that out so we don't get red in there. So I'm going to mix 2 ounces of this coconut rum. With 4 ounces of POG. POG is pineapple orange guava juice. If that's hard to find, it shouldn't be. But if it is, then, you can use any sort of tropical juice. It'll probably be fine. Not putting it in there. We're going to do 4 ounces POG in with the rum. Okay, and then we're gonna mix this with just a little. We're gonna pour about 2/3 of this very slowly on top of the grenadine. Now, there are different thicknesses in the liquid, which is why they layer. So we're gonna do about 2/3 of this. You don't have to be that precise in your measurement. But you can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's layering. Nice, it's getting a little melty. Okay, and then we're gonna mix 1 ounce of blue curacao, which is this beautiful color, in the second mixing cup. Look at that color, can you see it? It's kind of amazing. And we're going to mix that with 3 ounces of club soda. This is the 1.5 size, so 2 of those. We're going to mix that a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to slowly pour this on top. I hope you can see this on camera, but you can see the layers just work. So that's what it looks like so far. And then you're gonna you're gonna let that settle for just a second. Then you're gonna pour this in, which is gonna get you your green layer in the middle. With any luck. Again, the whole key to this one is pouring slowly. There you go. And then you can pour this on top if you have room. I don't have room, so I'm not going to. This one is huge. And then you can decorate however you want. Do it with an orange and a cherry. It kind of muddled. There you go. It got a little muddled, but it will settle in a second. Actually, you can see it clearing up right now. And as you drink it, the layers will actually stay. And that's it. It's hard.
That's really awesome. It looks
camera.
beautiful.
There is the orange layer here, but I can see that you're not seeing it very well.
Can you maybe bring it up close to the camera?
And as I move it, it's hard because it kind of mixes too. But you can see.
Oh, lovely. Yay. There we go. Yes. And if you'd like to bring the other drinks too, if they're still in good shape. Yes, definitely try your own handiwork.
Suga Daddy.
Yum.
The corrected Lachimolala.
Wonderful.
And IPKSSTT, whatever, I don't remember.
The keyboard smash. We could just say it's a keyboard smash.
Let's call it that.
So we have, I have 3 more questions, but if the audience has any more questions, now is your last chance to post it. And we'll just spend the rest of this time chatting with Lynn, who just finished those 3 amazing drinks for us. So thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome.
So I guess my first question is, what, or in your personal opinion, which drink or drinks do you think each of the members would enjoy? And if you want to come closer to the camera now that we are done making drinks, that would probably also be great. Hello.
All right, now I can actually see you.
Yes.
Well, okay. That's an interesting question because, a lot of the drinks are named for memes or something that relate to specific members. So I think that probably we can look at it that way. So I do think that actually, let's go in fan chant order, of course. the easiest way to do it, right?
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you want to, I don't know if it'll make your hands too cold or anything, but if you wanted to hold on to one of the drinks so we could still see it while you chat, and also just sip and enjoy now that we can just sit and talk if you'd like.
Well, I do have to drive home from the bookstore.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm not going to drink, but I will hold my favorite. Suga Daddy's my favorite. I have my favorite, personal favorite, I think. It is the one that started it all. It is Yoongi, like me, biased. Yoongi biased. Yoongi biased drink. But no, I'm going to put it down. Anyway, so in Fanchan order, Kim Namjoon. I think he's Dionysus all over him. I'll tell you why. I'm going to grab the book. I think some of the pictures will help explain my answers. If I can find them quickly enough, I don't want to take our time with me turning pages. But
I can also turn pages. We can see who gets there first, perhaps.
Okay. Two.
All right. Dionysus?
Yeah, very good. Okay, so for me, that says Kim Namjoon to me. I think because the sliced dates are like his wood tabletops that he loves so much. It's also very traditional in, its ingredients. It's soju, makgeolli, right? It's very traditional Korean ingredients. And so I feel like that in some ways reminds me of Kim Namjoon. And then with the sliced toasted dates on top, looking a little bit like a slice of wood, which always reminds me of him. So that's Kim Namjoon.
Yes.
Kim Seokjin. I'm torn about this one because to me, it's either Ijin, because he would love to, I think, eat this on Ijin. But also because whenever I think about him, he's like the king of chaos to me. So even though
God, for our viewers, point of reference.
Thank you. Even though Namjoon is the god of destruction, somehow that the scene that's created in that picture for God of Destruction, which is just things torn up and thrown everywhere, just reminds me of the chaotic. Yoongi, I think it has to be, you might think Suga Daddy, but I don't think so. I think it's We Are Bulletproof, the Eternals, because he's really kind of very pure in what he likes. He loves single malt Scotch, which is like the purest of the alcohols. And that's a straight up, that drink is pretty much that. So I think that's him. And then Hobie has to be Blue Side. It's bright, it's cheerful. It's from Hope World. Oh, I found it.
All right.
Yeah. That has to be him. And then Jimin, I do think it's I Like Puppy. Like I said before, it's sweet, it's powerful, it's a little bit of everything, and it will knock your socks off. But it's also cute and fuzzy. So I think that's him for me.
Yep.
I Like Puppy. And then for Tay, it has to be 4 O'Clock in Paris. Classic, elegant, jazzy, a little bit sweet too, but that's just all him. JK. I think JK is either Microcosmos, which is this one, or Army Bomb. For whatever reason, I think it's because of my experience at all the concerts I've been to, and it just seems like, Jungkook is so enraptured with Army and Army's experience and feeling healed, like the way he wrote Magic Shop, was his first song that he produced, and the wide-eyed kind of sparkliness of those two drinks is very JK to me.
Lovely. Well, what will you be drinking to celebrate the release of B next week?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yes.
And the answer is I'm not sure. And the reason I'm not sure is because I haven't heard the album yet. And so I really want to hear it and like feel it before I decide. I think probably if I had to have a drink the first time I listened to it, I would use Dynamite because Dynamite, is the most recent thing and is sort of part of this post Mott 7 era.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would choose that, but I want to wait and see what the kind of vibe of the album is.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'll post one if anybody wants me to.
Oh yeah, please do. Wonderful.
Okay, I will.
So, if you had to make a Lynn cocktail, what would the ingredients be, and would it be based on a particular memory or moment in your life?
Wow. Okay. Well, leave the hard ones for the end, Manilyn.
Going out with a bang.
And I feel like, they're all sort of me, and in a way, me and Jen and my other friends that sort of helped us, all kind of brainstorm through these things. I feel like they're all me, but I mean, honestly, I am pretty straightforward as a person, and I'm pretty simple as a person. And so for me, my favorite thing is just Scotch on the rocks. Mm-hmm. In terms of memories, I don't really have one that relates specifically to that. I just sort of like the straightforwardness and the simpleness and the taste. But I will tell you a story about Dynamite if you want. Mm-hmm. Because sure. Dynamite is actually kind of a nostalgic drink for me too, because Dynamite, the song is Disco, which is from the 70s, which is when I was a kid. And the most popular drink in the 70s, at least where I lived in New York, was the Harvey Wallbanger. Mm-hmm. Everybody's parents was drinking those in the 70s at all their cocktail parties at each other's houses, and including my parents. And I don't know if anybody knows, but the Harvey Wallbanger has Galliano in it, which is this very distinctive bottle. It's very skinny at the top. It's very wide at the bottom. It's bright yellow. It smells like medicine. Like it's so, as a little kid seeing it in the house, I was always like, what is that? And what is that for? And it's disgusting. Ew. But then when I saw the Dynamite MV, and I was like, wow, this is disco. This is the 70s. This is like my childhood, I knew that Dynamite had to be an updated version of the Harvey Wallbanger, mm-hmm. which is what it is. It's basically a Harvey Wallbanger with grenadine or maraschino syrup in it. That's really all it is, and a cherry on top, just to make it red to become like Dynamite. But that's my sort of nostalgic memory. It's not the drink I would choose to answer the question that you said, because mm-hmm. it's actually, well, for me, I'm not big on fruity orange juice. I'm not big on orange juice. Fruit's okay. I enjoy a lot of fruity drinks, but orange juice isn't my favorite. And so that's not the drink I would choose if I had to pick. And I'm much more of a straight up couple of fingers level of Scotch. And I'm good.
Wonderful. So it doesn't look like we have any questions from the audience at this right now. So we also just hit the 1 hour mark. Do you have any other last minute thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Army. A lot of people know this already about me, but Army means everything to me. Army's been there for me through some very hard times, and so an important part of this project was actually giving something back to Army. I know it's kind of silly. It's like a silly cocktail book full of jokes, but for me, it's about making people smile, making people happy. I also, again, want to say thanks to Jen, who couldn't be here, and also all my other Army sisters. I mean, I really have found a family in this community, and I'm very, very honored to be part of it. And I think BTS would be very proud of us with the community that we've created. So that's it.
Yes, thank you. I think you did a great job in making a lot of people happy with this book as well. So if folks would like to follow Lynn on Twitter, do you want to drop your Twitter at?
Sure, I'm just at LBARTSCH.
Wonderful. And you can follow Revolutionaries on Twitter at revolt_TWT. And on Instagram and Facebook at Revolutionaries Press. Again, Bring the Spirits, an Army-made drinks manual is available on our Revolutionaries website, revolutionaries.com.au, as well as Amazon. Yes, please do get your copy if you haven't gotten it yet. And thank you again, Lynn, and big shout out to Jen, who couldn't be here, and shout out to Kathleen and A Great Good Place for Books as well for hosting you.
Yes, and can I just say you can also visit Great Good Place for Books online and get your books there at www.ggpbooks.com. I did it right. And I think we should mention too, actually, that you can buy them on Amazon, but actually more of the money goes to the cause if you buy it from the publisher's website. So just keep that in mind. We understand it's so much easier sometimes to just click the buy now button on Amazon, but that's just to make an informed choice.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Lynn. And we will also post the ordering link and all links online on our social media after this the stream is over. So again, thank you, Lynn, for helping make the book happen. Big thank you to Revolutionaries also for putting this together, and thank you to everyone who is watching for joining us tonight. This was so much fun.
Yes, and thanks, Walia, for making this all happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Walia. All right, bye everyone. Good night.
Good night.